McCarthy was there too. He got a tremendous amount of respect. He was in the final performance of the night, joined in with a number of celebrities, and he did an exceptional job. And the introduction by Katy Perry, or by Kate Beckinsale to Katy Perry rather, was great too. And there weren't many technical difficulties at this year's Grammys. If you count it, there was only one mishap, and that was during the Kelly Clarkson Jason Aldean performance of Stay a While. There was one mishap with his microphone, where his microphone cut out halfway through his performance. Other than that, CBS doing a phenomenal job with the technical aspect of the Grammys. Did a phenomenal job. You don't see many technical difficulties at award shows like the CMAs or the Grammys, so that was great. The American Music Awards this past year too were great, and I'm expecting the one for 2012 to be phenomenal too. So I think that these award shows don't have that many technical difficulties. There was one mishap, if you count it, during the Kelly Clarkson Jason Aldean performance, which I caught. Made a little mental note of it, but it wasn't much. It was something that Jason Aldean passed off like a pro, and did a phenomenal job. Some of the performances at the Grammys just a couple of nights ago were just studio quality. I mean, CBS did this thing to perfection with promotion leading up to the Grammys, with technical aspect. They did a phenomenal job, and I think that the ones for 2013 are going to be just as phenomenal, and hopefully they won't be faced with any more unfortunate circumstances, which I believe took away from the show. And our poll for this week's edition of the show is, do you believe there was a bit too much conversation and attention given to the Whitney Houston situation? Do you think it needed that much attention, and do you think it took away from the show? Tell us on youtube.com, Jonathan Clarke 22, and follow us on Twitter. Send us a tweet about your opinion about the Grammys at twitter.com, HEW Entertainment, Jonathan Clarke 1. I think it took away a significant bit from the show, but not too much. I think that enough attention was given to Whitney Houston, more than she needed. She was given a piece there when they did the tribute for the musical artist who had passed away. She was talked about a lot, mentioned by a lot of celebrities and a lot of musical artists, people who presented awards, people who did performances. She was mentioned a lot through the 3.5 hours that it was on CBS. I think that she got a little bit too much attention, and it definitely took away from the show. But we want to know what you think. Do you think that her attention took away from the show and what the show could have potentially been? I think it did. And a lot of the dresses at the 54th annual Grammys definitely made a lot of the women look fat and bloated at the Grammys. I'm not trying to be disrespectful to any of them by any means, but Kelly Clarkson's dress, especially the black dress she had, definitely made her look bloated during her performance with Jason Aldean. That was one thing that caught my attention, how bloated she looked during her performance. I wasn't paying attention to the technical difficulties as much as I was paying attention to Kelly Clarkson's bloatedness. But I really think the show, apart from a few technical difficulties, not many, and the attention that Whitney Houston was given, was an exceptionally done job by CBS. A lot of categories with a lot of nominees who were deserving of being nominated in the categories they were. A lot of tributes, a lot of performances that were phenomenally done. Ryan Seacrest giving a phenomenal introduction to the Beach Boys. He not only gave them a phenomenal introduction, but he represented them quite well. When he presented that award to Taylor Swift in 2011, that told the committee a lot about Ryan Seacrest. I think we're going to see phenomenal and prosperous things to come from him. He is one guy who receives an incredible amount of criticism from PerezHilton.com. And if you caught the PerezHilton.com archive here on our YouTube channel at youtube.com, Jonathan Clarke 22, I tell you what my feelings are towards PerezHilton.com, the number one website for celebrity juice that's not concentrated. You can catch that here on our YouTube channel. I've talked about award shows a lot over the last couple of months because I think a phenomenal amount of effort goes into them. Now, I will say for the record, and this radio archive on our YouTube channel, that this was not the best award show I had seen in years. The American Music Awards this past year were better, and the CMA Awards were better. But I really do think that it was a good show for what they were faced with, the circumstances, and how much limited time they were faced with. If they were given a couple of days to prepare for a tribute for Whitney Houston, I think that the show would have been exceptionally better than what it was. But for what they did, With the limited amount of time they had for the tributes and everything, they did a phenomenal job. And the people who were technical engineers did a phenomenal job. Technically speaking, it was a good show. It had its highs, it had its lows. Like every award show, there were people who looked fat. There were people who were phenomenal. It had everything an award show needed to have. There were a couple of performances I almost fell asleep to. The Beach Boys probably didn't need to celebrate their 50th anniversary. They're known. They've had their time. Their time is up. They probably didn't need that 50th anniversary tribute they had, and you probably didn't need John McCarthy there doing what he did. But you did what you did, and it was a good show for what you were presented with for the 3.5-hour presentation of the show. Adele, winning more Grammy Awards than anybody, deserves an incredible amount of credit, not only for the awards she won, but how emotional she got for some of her speeches, the awards that she won, the categories she was nominated in, and the reception she received from the fans. There were some celebrities and musical artists who undoubtedly were favored, but they were favored for what they did in years like 2011 and early 2012. I mean, Taylor Swift, back in 2010, worth $47 million. That's how much she made in one single year for album sales, tours, how much attention she received on social media like Twitter and Facebook. Taylor Swift, over the top, received one of the biggest pops of the night. She got a huge pop. Katy Perry got a huge pop. The Foo Fighters, for their outside the arena performance, with their indie credits still remaining intact, recording music in the lead singer's garage that they alluded to during an interview. I think that they got some of the biggest pops of the night and received a tremendous amount of credit, not only for what they performed, but for the success they had this past year and early 2012. Some celebrities needed to look good. Other celebrities look good just because of who they are. I think that it was a phenomenal show. It was a good show, but it wasn't the best. It had its highs, it had its lows, but what award show doesn't? Adele taking home more Grammys than anybody, and as I mentioned, Taylor Swift taking home 2 Grammys that weren't televised. I can only imagine what the after party for the Grammys was like. I would imagine there was an amount of mixed emotions. If Whitney Houston would have been alive, she probably would have been at the Grammy Award show, and no doubt she was slated to appear there to do something that they never mentioned. But it was a good show. I'll rate the show 7 out of 10 stars, taking 3 stars off for the amount of circumstances they were faced with, how much limited time they had, the little bit of technical difficulty they had. But all in all, it was a good show, and I really, really enjoyed it. Coming up on the show here this afternoon, I'll be playing some music from some of the award nominees and award winners from the 54th Annual Grammys. You can see a complete list of award winners and nominees at the official website of the 54th Grammys at Grammy.com. They're also on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook. We have liked them on Facebook, and we are following them on Twitter at 54th Annual Grammys. And, they have a Grammy Award album out that has an extensive amount of Grammy nominees and award winners. A complete list of Grammy Award winners and nominees can be found at Grammy.com, but the 2012 Grammy album is great. I remember having the 1996 Grammy Award winners album. That was a good one. I can only imagine how great this one is. A number of award winners like Adele, Taylor Swift featured on the 2012 Grammys album, which is available everywhere compact discs are sold. They promoted that a lot. They talked about it on commercials. They talked about it during the show. And that album looks absolutely outstanding. We have a lot of Grammy nominees and award winners on the way here this afternoon on the show. We're going to be talking about the show, breaking it down for you, what I liked about the show, what I didn't like about the show, and you can tweet what you liked about the show, what you didn't like about the show on our Twitter page at HEW Entertainment, Jonathan Clarke 1. You can hear the show on Twitter and YouTube this afternoon. Thank you so much for listening. And if you have an opinion about the show, tell us what you thought. And let us know if you thought there was a bit too much attention given to Whitney Houston. She was definitely deserving of the attention, but probably she got a bit too much. She was definitely overrated. Dying, I think, was 48 years of age? A young woman, tragically having her life taken, discovered dead in her hotel room. She isn't the only one in history to be discovered dead in her hotel room. Probably won't be the last one. An investigation will be going on into the cause of her death right through the next week, and I'm sure a lot of entertainment news programs will be profiling that one for you. They were profiling the whole Demi Moore situation a lot, so maybe we'll get a bit of a reprieve from the Demi Moore situation now that Whitney Houston has taken away from what the social media and everything was talking about. So hopefully we'll have more information on that. It was very unfortunate what happened with Whitney Houston. Definitely my prayers and my thoughts go out to the friends and family who were affected by her loss. But it's something we're occasionally seeing. We're seeing it a lot here lately. The last couple of years we've been seeing a lot in the entertainment world happen in terms in relation to death. Very unfortunate. I wasn't expecting to turn on the Grammys this past Sunday at 8 and see this tribute for Whitney Houston. And I said to myself, oh my God, she's dead, another celebrity kicks the bucket. What are we going to do? I was expecting to tune into the Grammys after seeing the red carpet special done by E.T. and see a lot of people be fat in their dresses. And that's what I saw from Kelly Clarkson. That's what I saw from Katy Perry. The women that didn't look fat at the Grammys had a lot to be proud of. Definitely. It's true what they say. Television definitely puts 20 pounds on you. But Katy Perry came out, did a phenomenal job with Pyro and her set. Some of the best sets I saw were Taylor Swift's, Katy Perry's, Bruno Mars. Bruno Mars was up for 6 Grammys this past Sunday. He did an exceptional job. He had a freaky-looking hairdo, too, and his attire he chose to wear was a bit unique and very uncharacteristic of a guy who had a song featured on the Twilight Breaking Dawn Part 1 soundtrack, don't you think? But he did a good job, and a lot of celebrities performed songs that made them big in 2011. Taylor Swift performing Mean, Katy Perry performing her song Fireworks, which is up first here on our playlist this afternoon. Follow us on Twitter at HEW Entertainment, Jonathan Clarke 1. We are following Katy Perry on Twitter. We are following Adele. You can check her out at her official website, Adele.com, for tour dates, appearances, and more. You can check out Taylor Swift at TaylorSwift.com for appearance dates, tours, and more. She's doing phenomenal for herself. Got 2 movies on the way out, one for Dr. Seuss and one for Disney, which is really unique. It's very rare to see a celebrity in 2 movies released at the same time. I guess Disney and the company producing the Dr. Seuss one conflicted with release dates, and the DVDs and Blu-rays will drop for both movies around the same time too. That's what that means. That's kind of unique. I don't think it's going to be as good as something like Ghost Rider starring Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider Part 2. The trailer's on our Twitter page. But it's going to be a good movie. Anything with Taylor Swift in it is exceptionally good. Someone worth $47 million it should be. Jay-Z won an award, but he wasn't there to accept it.